She tracked every purchase for 30 days, not in an app, in a small notebook with a pen at the end of each day. She had not changed her income, had not built a budget. She had simply written 4 questions, repeated daily. And something in her relationship with money had shifted at a level she could not explain. She was a teacher in her late 30s who felt like money disappeared faster than she could track it. Not because she was irresponsible, because she was never actually looking at it. The method was designed in 1904 by a Japanese journalist. For people who had never been taught how to think about money, it is called Kakebo. But to understand why it works, you have to go back to where it came from and what the brain was never told about money. The origin. Hani Motoko, 1904. Western problem to Japanese contrast to concept plus meaning. In 1904, most Japanese women managed the household budget with no tools and no guidance, expected to stretch limited resources across an entire family without ever having been taught how. Hani Motoko, one of Japan's most influential journalists, saw the gap. She designed a financial journal not for accountants, for ordinary people managing ordinary days. Kakebo translates roughly as household financial ledger, but it functions less like a ledger and more like a conversation, a structured, recurring dialogue between a person and their own relationship with money. The method has 4 questions, the same 4 questions every month for as long as you use it. What makes it work is not the questions. It is what writing them by hand does to the brain. The Neuroscience Bridge. Why analog beats digital. The core mechanism. When you pay with a card or a phone, money is abstract. There is no friction between the impulse and the action. There is actually a name for what disappears when that happens. Researchers call it pain of paying, the mild discomfort the brain registers when money leaves. It sounds unpleasant. It is not. It is information, the signal that keeps spending connected to intention. Writing an amount by hand restores it. The physical act reaches a region of the brain called the anterior insula, the part that notices consequence. And something shifts. The moment stops being automatic. It becomes a choice you're aware of making. You are not logging a transaction. You are confronting a decision. No app replicates this. The friction is the point. Question 1. How much do you have? Western default to Kakebo. Inversion to neuroscience to try this. Most people do not know how much money they actually have at the start of a month. They know their salary. They have a rough sense of their bills. But the number left, after fixed expenses, is rarely written down and rarely looked at directly. Kakebo begins here. On the first day of the month, total income, total fixed outgoings, subtracted. The result is your actual playing field, not an estimate. A specific number, written in your own hand. The brain, when it does not have a real number, invents one. Usually a generous one. Writing the actual figure down is uncomfortable for exactly this reason. It replaces the comfortable approximation with something that cannot be argued with. Try this. Write your income, write your fixed expenses, subtract. Write the result in large numbers at the top of a fresh page. That number is your month. Look at it directly. Question 2. How much do you want to save? Inversion of the Western default. Most people save what is left at the end of the month. Kakebo reverses this. Before the month begins, you choose a savings target and subtract it from your available amount. What remains is what you have to spend. This is not a discipline strategy. It is a cognitive one. Money that has been named, assigned a purpose before the month begins, behaves differently in the mind than money that is simply available. The brain spends the second kind. It protects the first. The goal does not need to be large. It needs to be chosen before the month, not at the end of it. Try this. Choose a savings number before you spend anything this month. Write it down. Subtract it. The remaining number is your actual budget. The savings amount belongs to your future self. It is no longer available for daily decisions. Question 3. How much are you spending? The daily practice. 4 categories. Each evening, you write down what you spent. Kakebo organizes entries into 4 categories. Not to judge, but to see. Survival. Daily necessities that fluctuate. Groceries, transport, medication. Essential, but variable. Different from the fixed bills already recorded. Wants. The most honest category. The takeout ordered because cooking felt like too much. The coffee bought more from habit than desire. Not a category to eliminate, a mirror to look into. Culture. Spending that returns something. A book, a class, an experience that changes how you think. Kakebo treats this differently from waste. Because it is unexpected. Expenses that arrive without invitation. A repair, a last-minute gift, a sudden need. Tracking them separately does something important. It removes the shame. The irregular is not a failure. It is simply part of the pattern. After the teacher had been doing this for 2 weeks, she noticed something she had not expected. She was not spending less. She was spending more deliberately. The categories had made the invisible visible, and visible things can be chosen. Try this. Tonight, write down everything you spent today. Assign each item to one of the 4 categories. Do not evaluate, just record. The pattern will speak for itself before the month is over. Question 4. How can you improve? Reflection, not judgment. At the end of each month, Kakebo asks one question. Not, where did you fail? How can you improve? You look at the numbers with curiosity. Did you reach your savings goal? What did the wants column reveal about the month you actually lived versus the month you planned? There is something worth knowing about how the brain responds to reviewing its own behavior. Criticism triggers defense. The mind closes. Curiosity does the opposite. It opens something. You actually see more. Kakebo is built on this. The question is not what went wrong. It is what can be different. That is not softness. That is strategy. Try this. At the end of this month, sit with your notebook for 10 minutes. Read what you wrote. Ask the 4 questions. Do not judge what you find. Ask what it is telling you about what you actually value and what you want to do differently. A financial diary from 1904. 4 questions. A pen and whatever notebook you already own. How much do you have? Clarity before the month begins. How much do you want to save? Intention before the spending. How much are you spending? Awareness, one evening at a time. How can you improve? Curiosity, not judgment. at the end. The teacher finished her 30 days. She told me she had not become a different person. She'd not solved money. She had simply stopped pretending she was not making choices and started watching with honesty what those choices were actually building. What Hani Motoko understood in 1904 is what the neuroscience now confirms. The problem was never the numbers. It was the distance between a person and their own decisions. Money spent without awareness is not a financial problem. It is an attention problem. And attention, unlike income, is something anyone can train. You will know where your money went. And in knowing that, you will begin to understand something about what you actually want your life to be. If this resonated, subscribe. Every week, the psychology of how you think, feel, and live.